this morning the way we kind of went to bed with a late night game obviously in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, where a lot of us Philly sports fans hate. But the Philadelphia Union, unfortunately, on the road again, suffer what is their fourth loss now to FC Dallas, a 1-0 loss. And I know a lot of people anticipated the Union to at least come away with the point, but I do think that the consensus from what I gather from the fan base, that this would not be an easy matchup going down to Dallas, a place that we have never won in our club's history. And this is a club with a lot of good young talent. We talked about the speed and the quality that is on this pitch. They are in third place of a tough Western Conference for a reason. And I just think that we talked about the inclement weather that would be down there, and that being the heat and just the exhaustion that it creates playing in Frisco. But we all knew this was coming, and the Union kind of just really fell flat. This was one of those performances where it was very uncharacteristic. You had uncharacteristic play from your back line. The attack was not clinical in the final third. And, I'm going to give kudos to Dallas because I just think that this was a situation for Dallas where they were looking to make a little bit of a statement. Obviously, this is a team that last year did not make the playoffs. This year, third in the West. Nico Estevez seems things get rolling here for FC Dallas. But this, unfortunately, for Union fans, it will sting a little bit. But for myself, I'm not worried about it too much considering the spot that it was in. But definitely some things to work on, and I'm not liking the road performances that we've been putting on. Like, I think Mike Thomas put it perfectly on Twitter. Shouts to Mike Thomas as always. The Cincinnati one is one that for myself, and I felt the same way right after it. That one was a little bit less unacceptable than what this was. This is different from Cincinnati because of the quality that is Dallas. I mean, it's a third place team in the Western Conference compared to Cincinnati, that's in year one of what Pat Noonan and Chris Albright are trying to do. And they really just took all your weaknesses and exploited it essentially. But when you're going down to Texas and you figure the team that it is, you kind of can settle with this one a little bit more than what is Cincinnati. But we're going to talk about this match. We'll talk about everything that went down. But welcome everyone to the Uni match recap. The I guess the shortened version of Uni match recap. We will be back live again tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God we'll be back live here tonight. But real quick, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe for more Philly sports as we discuss Philadelphia sports all the damn time. All right, so the for the Union heading into this match, obviously coming off of a big one against Chicago, but this was obviously going to be a tough spot playing two matches in one week, and in a short turnaround following that Chicago match, you got to travel down to Frisco, Texas. Now, Jim, obviously one of the key things that we always worry about, always want to see heading into these two matches in one week is the rotation and what the lineup is going to essentially look like for the Union and Jimmy Boy. And so for this one, Jimmy decided to make a couple changes. We still stuck with that 4-4-2 diamond, but a couple changes that you noticed was number one, at the right back position, Jim decided to go back with Nathan Harriel. Possibly in a spot like this where you do want to give some players a rest, you do want to see some sort of rotation. He decided to put Nathan Harriel in for Olivier Mbaizo at that right back position, which definitely did like that one. Now, the midfield got another change as well. And I actually, at first, I was like, really? But then I was like, okay, maybe this is a good idea. He decided to go back with the usual diamond, Flock and Ali as your shuttlers, with Gazak at the tip of the diamond and El Brujo Martinez as a number six here. And I like that thought process because I figured that going forward into this match, it started off, I wasn't sure how aggressive they were going to be in attack. So to me, kind of told me, put these four together. This is obviously your best defensive minded midfield. Essentially, keep that compactness and make it really difficult, especially a team like FC Dallas who play with three in their mid. And obviously, you have guys like you have that front line of Velasco, Ferreira, and Areola that obviously just. Those guys don't stop moving, essentially. So I like that. I definitely did like that one. Obviously, you lack an attack, but you got that compactness that makes you very dangerous as well and can create a potential in attack as well. The other big move was Jim decided to bench Ua, which who called it? Who called it in the preview? That was me, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Burke got the start. And again, I just felt that using Corey Burke's strengths to start this matchup was exactly what this team needed. I thought it was good. Unfortunately, the plan could not get finished. We'll talk about that in a second. But Burke and Carranza were your two starting forwards. Now, to start off this match, I did feel like this was an evenly tested matchup, but I also did feel like the Union had the better of the opportunities of the two teams. And you saw Julian Carranza really testing FC Dallas's goalkeeper Pius with couple long shots. The Union got into the final third, could not finish, and that was kind of the story of that first half. Now, unfortunately, in the 34th, around the I would say the 25th minute, FC Dallas really started getting their own chances. You saw Paul Areola really stretching the back line. You saw both Areola and Velasco kind of drifting back inside. You had Marco Farfan and Tumasi creating some width out wide as well. Really just trying to put as many numbers in the box with the back line of the Philadelphia Union. So it was a good game plan to say the least. But it was really testing the back line. And when you got speed from that front line of Dallas, they really were doing a good job of stretching our back line. And you got to give kudos to FC Dallas, and it all paid off with the Jesus Ferreira goal, 34th minute. Areola one on one with Jakob was it with Jack Ellie, I'm sorry, and he crosses it in for Jesus Ferreira, and Ferreira with a one touch, and then just freaking whips this bad boy right. He was right on Jakob. Jakob Glazers was right on him. Ferreira makes one touch and then he kicks the ball left side of the net. And how much Andre Blake could do there? This play happened in the midst of a millisecond. And just like that, FC Dallas are up 1-0 thanks to some great pure class by Jesus Ferreira. And now the Union are now in catch up mode. The game plan kind of drifts away for both sides. And now the Union need to ramp up the attack, and you possibly need to make some changes and put some bodies in there. And unfortunately, however, I will say this: I don't know what happened in the halftime. I don't know what happened in that dressing room, but definitely the just the morale and just the game plan and the energy kind of changed in the second half for the Union. Dallas looked like the better team, and of course, we saw the return of the bunker. They bunkered down, and we all know the Union have been able to struggle with a little bit of a bunker when they put bodies down low with that low block, and the Union truly did struggle with it. Now, you did see Jim making some changes early on, right at the 59th minute. You saw McGlynn come in for Flock. You saw Harriel come in for, I'm sorry, you saw Mbizo coming in for Harriel. Now you added two attack-minded players. Um, the worst part about the first half was Corey Burke went down. Corey Burke, midway through the first half, got caught in the midfield and got sandwiched by two FC Dallas defenders. And for like the last 10 minutes of that first half, he kept grabbing his chest. You can kind of tell that something was bothering him in his chest area. And so Jim decided to just pull him out, put Mikel Uwa a little bit earlier than probably what he wanted. So in the 45th minute, you saw Mikel Uwa come in for Corey Burke, and that the plan kind of got cut short there. But you got Ua, you got Gaz. I'm sorry, you got Ua, you got McGlynn, and you got Harry. I'm sorry, Mbizo. Your first couple subs have come in, and now you're more of an attack-minded type of team. And you would think that that would have been able to help, but unfortunately, not much that it was doing. Jim did put in Paxton Aronson a little bit too late. 88th minute, he puts in Aronson and Martinez. He took Carranza out and put Chris Donovan in there as well in the 80th minute, and that was your five substitutes for this game. But the Union in its entirety of the first half, I'm sorry, in the second half, had two opportunities, just two. That was it. And FC Dallas did a great job of just bunkering down. You didn't really have much of good opportunities. Obviously, they had a lot of possession as well because they were obviously playing catch up, and that's what Dallas wanted. They wanted them to attack with the ball and tried to see if they could break down that low block. But unfortunately, on a night like tonight, or on a night like Wednesday night, or yeah, Wednesday night, I should say, the Philadelphia Union unfortunately could not prevail and would suffer a loss. This is two losses in now their last three matches, uncharacteristic, and your your supporter shield dreams are kind of dwindling away, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the best part about it was LAFC was dishing back but the LAFC fans, not LAFC. LAFC fans are dishing back the troll. And by the way, I did not know that there was that many Dallas fans until I went on Twitter after the game. I thought y'all were all Cowboys fans or Mavs fans when they're good, or Stars fans when they're good, or Rangers when they're good. I didn't know there was FC Dallas fans. It was crazy to see, but kudos to y'all. Y'all deserve that win. So yeah, so the supporter shield situation definitely does take a little bit of a hit. I mean, I never thought that we could get it anyways. The way both LAFC and Austin have been playing, it would be really difficult. But um, listen, I get it. It definitely does suck, guys. But unfortunately, listen, there was a couple factors heading into this match. Number one was was the weather. We all knew that going down there, it was going to be tough trying to mask some sort of attack, considering the fact that the weather and what it's like down there. It was hot. Those water breaks, you could tell that the Union players were just ready for it. And Dallas, that to me is the advantage for Dallas, being able to have that home pitch advantage and being able to have that hot weather. These players, these players, this is like nothing to them. This is what they do every single game. They're used to this, and it's definitely one of the home field advantage. It's like the Denver Broncos, right? The Denver Broncos playing at Mile High, higher elevation. I guess all the Denver, Colorado teams, Denver in general is just a high elevated city, and so when you go up there and it's not like running 5 miles in Denver is not the same as running 5 miles, let's just say here in Philadelphia. So that's their home field advantage. For Dallas, it's just really hot weather in the middle of summer. Why don't they, FC Dallas, why don't you guys play in Jerry World? What are they using Jerry World right now for? Just go ahead and play Jerry World. It would be much better for all of us. It's funny too because there wasn't much of a home field advantage as far as the noise and the energy and the atmosphere. Like, I'm not gonna lie, FC Dallas fans were very quiet. I heard a couple FC Dallas, FC Dallas, but besides that, I mean, they were pretty much quiet. There's a lot of empty seats. The thing is, it is a beautiful park. I will say that it definitely does look like a beautiful park, but it's just more so, I guess the like we talked about with Buzz Carrick in the thirddegree.net interview, like Dallas, it's Cowboys land, right? And soccer is still trying to grow in this country in general, and for a market like Dallas, it's still trying to reach those masses, but it is definitely tough. I'm just going to chalk up a portion of this loss to the fact that that weather really got to us. That heat really got to the Philadelphia. The back line had a very uncharacteristic game again. And this is not. I've seen a couple matches now where I've seen a lot of uncharacteristic just play from the Union, and Jim always mentions this, and I truly believe this. When you're at the top, when you're one of the best teams in the league, they're always going to be gunning for you. That's just how it works. Doesn't matter what sport it is. The Union are one of the elite clubs in the MLS. They teams are gunning for the Philadelphia Union. So you have to come on ready to play. Dallas was looking forward to this matchup. They knew who they were going up against. It's a young team looking to make a statement later on in the season, and they came in hungry at home. They had the heat behind them. And you have to be able to have that eye of the tiger against every single one of these clubs. Look at the losses that they've had. Look at the wins that they've had. Losing to Toronto, losing to Chicago, losing to Cincinnati, losing to Dallas and Dallas. And these are all road matches as well, I should say. But these were all teams that were hungry and desperate. And sometimes you yourself have to have that type of mindset as well. Now, look, long term, this team is going to be fine because number one, you're unstoppable at home, but number two, you're still in first place. And New York lost the Red Bull lost last night or no, the Red Bull did win. I'm sorry, but NYCFC lost last night to Charlotte, and so they kind of dropped down a little bit. We'll see what Montreal does. I believe they either play tomorrow or Saturday. I'll double check, but regardless, you still look it looks like you're in good shape in the Eastern Conference standings. So as far as the attack goes, we still got to figure out how to. It's still to this day we haven't been able to figure out that low block. Obviously, when you don't have Carranza, Ua, and Gazdag all together at the same time for stretches of this match, it definitely was difficult. But I do feel like overall, if a team throws us a low block and we have those guys, I do feel like we can get the job done there. We can find a way to get a goal. I mean, Mikael Ua did try his best. I also saw a lot of Mikael Ua lining up wide a lot here today, creating some width from out wide. He had a nice little cross. He had a nice little cross inside. Or sorry, cut back inside and had a low shot near in the near side post. But just overall, it was just very, very tough here. Jack McGlynn obviously came in second half, and look, like I said, I didn't mind the lineups early on this match, considering the fact that you were looking to break down, or you were looking to kind of bring up defensive essentially traps or obstacles for FC Dallas, and that's why I like that midfield. But going forward, Jack McGlynn has obviously got to be your number one in as far as your midfield options go, especially as a shuttler. You're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do with that six role. But going forward, considering what depending on the matchup, this was a matchup for the Flock and Martinez midfield duo. But going forward, McGlynn's got to be in the starting lineup, depending on the matchup with Martinez or Flock at that number six position. Look, there's not much else that we can really come at or go with here, but I do want to commend Danny and JP. I was cool seeing this match on NBC Sports Philly. I'm obviously watching NBC Sports Philly a lot with the Phillies, the Sixers, and the Flyers, and obviously they have their Eagles coverage as well. They don't broadcast Eagles games, but it felt good to be back on NBC Philly, guys. I love PHL 17, and obviously, like, no matter who's broadcasting these games for right now until we go to Apple TV, like, we're gonna have JP, we're gonna have Danny as the guys, as the broadcasters, but it just feels like we're part of the family. Like like the 5 for 5 really feels strong by being able to have our match on NBC Sports Philly. And I remember the days when we did have our matches on NBC Sports Philly, and it was a different time. And then unfortunately, things changed, and the union decided that moving forward with the partnership with PHL 17 was more conducive, and I can't really hate them for that. But it was definitely cool to see them there. I was trying to think. The front line of Dallas, man, they're pretty special. Velasco, Areola, Jesus Ferreira, they just have a chemistry, and their style of play just fits off of one another perfectly. They all got speed. They all have technical ability. They have that chemistry going. I want the Union because I still think that Carranza, and Gazek still have room for improvement, and that's what I want. I want those guys to be seamless. I want those guys, no matter where they're on the pitch, to know where everyone else is at. That Jesus Fade is really dangerous, man. He is a baller. I absolutely listen. I obviously hate the result, but love watching that kid play. He is a lot of fun to play. He's one of the best young stars that we do have here in this league. And he's depending on what's his future. And they have him and Paxton Pomacall. You can really throw into the same kind of conversation. Two of those homegrowns, obviously very talented, are still here and love playing for Dallas. Want to win for Dallas, and they're obviously not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And so for Dallas, it's kind of cool. I know a lot of Union fans would love to keep some of their homegrowns, and I understand the plan of the Union, and I understand why we sell them off. But it is definitely cool to have your guys kind of grow with the team. So this is one that again I know it's kind of cliche. No one wants to hear it, but this is another one that you're gonna have to throw under the rug. You're gonna have to learn from it. I definitely think the low block is something that Jim can kind of take away from it. How can we break down that low block in 2022? It's different from what it was in 2019. Obviously, you have better players that can break down a low block. So and just keeping energy high for 90 minutes. I mean, that was a Dallas team. They handled this like a playoff game, and you gotta match that intensity. And I just not feel that intensity was there here today. So obviously, the best part about it is you turn around on a Saturday. You go down to DC, and you're gonna face off against DC United. So it should be a lot of fun, and we'll see what happens. But we'll talk about that later on. We'll have Duke by the River here tonight on Thursday to talk about it. I'll have Justin, and we'll have a special guest, Cheyenne Foster, to talk about from between the clean sheets to talk about the DC United match. But guys, thank you so much for checking on in. Again, the Union fall 1-0 in Frisco, Texas to FC Dallas. And we'll be back at it again later again. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe for more Philly sports. I'm your boy El Parcero Philly, and I'm telling you guys to do ball. Talk to you guys soon.